How to use BTC to trade the S&P 500. Now, over the last few MAOs, I have been talking about this. And last night, the Bitcoin went down below 19,000 again, and that freaked the market out. But very interesting, when Bitcoin recovered, the S&P actually did the same thing. So that's the reason why I've been telling you guys this. Watch the S&P very closely because it has a very interesting relationship with the S&P 500. Now, before we start today's session, once again, disclaimer apply as usual. Please do your risk management. And of course, thank you AIMS for all the kind sponsor. Now, Bitcoin yesterday briefly drops below 19,000, and I saw some article, can't be confirmed on this, that more than 100,000 account was burned yesterday. Yes, the account burst because the sudden selling of the Bitcoin caused lots of upheaval in the market. And what's the main reason? Because we're going to have the FOMC meeting, and there's a high chance that the Federal Reserve is going to increase the interest rate by 75 basis points. And of course, with the ongoing rumor now that could be 100 basis points, that basically put a lot of risk asset into the limelight. And of course, we can see that the selling was just quite fast. It just came down, and Ethereum also came down after their recent merger. So all these are the main driver for now, but we can see from the start of the highest point of Bitcoin when it was at 68,000 to 69,000, remember? That was back in December period last year. And from then on, non-stop selling, all right? So remember, at the time itself, when the Bitcoin was at 68,000, so many people were looking at 100,000. Now, I don't deny this. I also expected the Bitcoin to go to 100,000 by last year. But when I realized that the Bitcoin goes to 68,000, and I know that the US Federal Reserve is going to increase interest rate, I know that likelihood that Bitcoin will be coming down, and I've been calling for sell on Bitcoin for the longest of time. In fact, my call is that I believe that Bitcoin is going to come down to at least 16,000. Then maybe we might be able to see a little bit of reprieve. So along the way, I know that many people have been calling for buy, and it was at 48,000 here, and there was a March period when people tell me, Cal, call for buy over here, it'll go up. I say, no, it'll be coming down, and truth be told, right? So the thing is this, if you look at the Google Analytics, right, you can see that back in 2017, when Bitcoin was trading at about 19,000, there was an upsurge because from that time, from 2,000, it went to 19,000. Everybody was like Googling it and looking at it. But once people stopped, you can see it entered a 3 years window period, yeah? Then the next time itself was in 2020 when Bitcoin was at 19,000 again. There was a little bit more, participation. And when it went to 63,000, wow, you can see that the interest came in, right? And when it hit 68,000, the interest was also there. But you can see that its interest compared to the previous was not as high. And after that, we have it coming down. And now what we have, the Bitcoin now is trading at below 20,000, right? So now the volume, the volume of people watching, looking at it, Googling on it is very, very little. So we are entering a bit like this winter period. So until we see an uptick on the Google Analytics, right? If not, I believe that Bitcoin will be sluggish for a time being. And of course, in terms of Fibonacci itself, right, we take the lowest point back all the way to 2020, 2021. We put the lowest point to the highest point right here. Incredibly, the Fibonacci number itself of the 78.6 or 0.786, right? You can see the market really come down, touched here beautifully, and rebounded. So I kind of suspect that right now the support level will be somewhere around here at 0.786 or 17,800 level. If the market actually breaks below 17,800, my God, based on Fibonacci, there is a possibility for the Bitcoin to come back down all the way to 4,000 mark. But of course, I don't think so. I think that about 16,000 will be a fairly good number to watch out for on the Bitcoin. All right, so this is the Fibonacci figure right now. Pretty interesting, right? Because you look at the low and extension, and you can see that every time it hit the Fibonacci numbers, it's pretty clear, like the 50% mark, it stopped there and rebounded. But once it loses 50, it went to 61.8, stopped there for a while, then before it came back down. All right, very interesting. Now, this is the Bitcoin rainbow price chart. I've been sharing this over the last 2 years, and I did tell you that, right, we're entering the winter period, and of course, we are somewhere near this area. Now, the last time we see this was back in 2020, and it entered the so-called the purple area, and that's where it bottomed out and recovered. So we can see that it happened again previously in 2016 before the halving. So the next halving itself is still 2 years later. So this is not easy, but if you look at it right now, based on what we are saying, there could be a small possibility that the market may do an artificial rebound in the near term. Well, for me, it's alright. I suspect that next year will be a better year to buy Bitcoin than this year. That's what I've been saying. So if you use a rainbow chart right now, they actually did a marker. They felt that, right, that could be a bottom level, right? That means that somewhere around this area here, so that's where the so-called end of the rainbow. So they did a interesting look at it. Okay. Now this is where it looks like. If let's say if this is going to press further downwards, right? So they look at probably we may see a base at about 16,700 area. Is it something similar to what I am looking at? I'm looking at 16,000 to be the base. So of course, for those people who have been buying and keeping this Bitcoin, you can consider that. But of course, like people like Michael Saylor, who have bought a lot of Bitcoin, if Bitcoin go to 16,000, I think you're going to be fainting, right? But whatever it is itself, right, traders has to take note. Now, of course, there's some people saying that maybe by 2023, if this is a bottoming out effect, the next rebound could be as much as 294,000. Oh my God. So I don't buy this. Honestly, I really don't buy this. I think that the downside of Bitcoin is much higher than the upside. And of course, we know that some of the Federal Reserve officials are not very keen with this particular asset class. All right. So that's the reason why I don't think that we can see 150,000 or 200,000 in the near term. Now, one thing to note of this is that why is the Bitcoin coming down? Now, the one in candlestick is the Bitcoin. All right. Bitcoin is coming down because you can see the US dollar is mounting up. The US dollar is really going up at a very strong rate because of the interest rate factoring and so-called other countries are coming down. So what we're having now is that, right, this Bitcoin right now is coming down and the dollar is moving up. And if we suspect the dollar is going to go higher, then most likely the Bitcoin is going to come down, right? And obviously, in the last few MAOs, I already tell you that I believe that this dollar will go higher because the interest rate likely will go to 4.5% or even 5% just to combat inflation. So if we do expect the Bitcoin to trade lower, we look at the S&P 500 versus Bitcoin. So you can see that they have a very interesting momentum. It's just that whenever the Bitcoin comes down first, later S&P will drop. And same thing, if the Bitcoin is recovering from the base area, you can see that the S&P 500 do also recover. So what we have on the day before was that the Bitcoin was coming down, and that's the reason why the S&P was down. Very interesting. So if you look at it today, all right, today itself, right, we have a strong recovery on the Bitcoin yesterday. It went down below the 19,000 mark, but with strong volume, it came back up. And that is the reason why we saw the S&P 500 was down initially, then after that it recovered. All right, so this tells us that this Bitcoin and the S&P 500 has a very, very close relationship. So let's just ask ourselves a question. If we suspect that the equity market is going to come down because of the inflation problem, then obviously it's all right. It's a matter of time. We will see that the Bitcoin might be coming down, and that will give us a what you call a forecast or a what you call a predetermined signal that it may follow through. So I suspect that if Bitcoins go down to 16,000, then of course the S&P 500 will likely follow through and follow suit, and we may see S&P down to 3,600 to 3,400 level. All right, so that is how we use the Bitcoin to trade the S&P 500. Hope you like it. Let's look at the chart right now for today. Now for the chart side, we still seeing the China A50 going down to the 13,000. I've been saying this for the longest of time, and I'm going to change my words. I believe that we need to come down here. Now, you look at the chart right now, everybody. Let me just squeeze in the chart a little bit for you. Okay, you can see very clearly this is the long-term trend line that I have since 2015 all the way to now. And unless we see it get supported at this point, if not itself, right, I still believe the China A50 counter is still going to go down. Now, it doesn't mean that it hit this trend line, the market will actually stay on and stay put, because by historical chart pattern, it seemed that it will be here like that, but you never know. But to me is that since we have the China, this Communist Party, this election coming in itself, and likely Xi Jinping are going to be re-elected, I felt that the market will purposely hit this base here and then stage a rebound. That's how I feel it, all right? Okay, for the US Dow Jones, we see an incredible support yesterday. Now, I already shared with you guys about my feel about this as Dow Jones, right? I said that the 30,488 will be a very critical level for the Dow Jones. And last night, the market came down to 30,516. Now, some other platform actually traded 485, but it doesn't matter. The main base is today itself, right? The market went down, missed the number, and recovered. So by right, if the market want to go up, right, it may go and test back again the 85% mark, which is that 31,411. But if you ask me, maybe we can come up to about 31,200 level to the most 31,300 level. That I think that should be the maximum for this round, in my opinion. But of course, again, the market can actually go higher. Now, using my TWB chart right now, let's take a look. We have a new set of BNB today. Yeah, it's a new set of BNB today. And this new BNB tells me that if it can stay above 31,109, it can go back up to 31,703. And I also felt that, right, this is actually possible if the market really feel that it's time to buy. But the MLP for today is 30,969, and I suspect that this will be a very important pivotal point. If the market loses the MLP today, then the market may come down all the way to pivot 1 level at 30,779. Now, the BNB extension minus 1 time 1 is at 29,923. So this is actually higher than the last number that we had. But it doesn't matter. If the market can break down the BNB SL level, then I think that the market can come down to 29,923. So traders, just take note of the change of numbers, because the market is dynamic. All these things have to follow through. But the moving average MA30 is on top. So overall, I feel that the market is still weak, yeah, at the moment right now. Now, the Nasdaq itself, you can see very clear that it has get itself supported at P2 level at 11,911. Now, the KSI and KW were all red, but the market sit nicely above pivot 2. So when you go below pivot 2, by right, it's a sell, right? But the thing is that now it recovered. It's recovered above the pivot 2, and it's above MLP right now. So basically, it's more towards a buy. So the next upside itself could be all the way to 128 level, okay? 128, my bad. The upside level will be 12105 level. For the Nasdaq 12105, okay? Now, the MA30 is 12368. MA30 a bit far from where we are right now. I think the first target should be here. All right. Now, the S&P 500. Now, S&P 500 is trading above the MLP at 3891, and it's above the pivot 1 at 3871. So with these two giving you the strength, as long as the market stays above OP, by right, we should see a classic buy for today. And the potential upside could be 3992 level. 3992. But of course, to hit 3992, that means that it's about 80 points, or we're talking about nearly 600 to 700 points upside for the Dow, which I doesn't think that it will happen today because we are on the eve of the FOMC meeting. I suspect that it may be sideways for a while until tomorrow, okay? Now, for Nikkei, all right, Nikkei this morning has did a strong reversal downwards. Okay, now Nikkei, obviously there's some ongoing grapevine saying that the companies in Japan itself is not doing as well, and there's a lot of unemployment might be coming in. All these are all grapevines, not to be sure, but we do have a strong MLP at 27,626 for today. So as long as the market stays above 27,626, the market is still all right. Now, both the KSI and the KW have a mixed back signal. KSI means that the boys are buying, but the KW is not. So that means that the traders there is pretty mixed back. All right, the upside potential is 28,004, and it's MA30, but today's high was 912. All right, so for today, Nikkei, as long as it stays above 27626, maybe it will recover a little bit. Now for Hong Kong. Now Hong Kong market itself is going against the traffic. Now Hong Kong this morning opens already above the pivot 1. So by right, above OP, above MLP, CCRY will be a buy. So let me just show you the Hang Seng chart for today. Now, Hang Seng this morning was, wow, very, very choppy. It was up and down, up and down, up and down, but at least it went down to the KTR -1 first level, and then it rebounded past MLP and now above OP. Now, at this junction here itself, right, we also know that if it stays above OP and above MLP, usually the upside will come. And truth be told, the market really went up. So now it's went up to the KTR +2. There's some profit taking as expected. But overall, as long as it's a classic trade, right, most likelihood we will see how to do this. It could go higher for time being. Now for crude oil. Now for crude oil, it has tried to come down. Yesterday, crude oil came down. The BNB support was at 84.67. Yesterday, we have the thing coming down all the way to this 81.68 level. Then, of course, dramatically, they rebounded again. So, thing is, as long as crude oil is downward trend, I still stick to my guns. $80.40 should be the support level here. And it happened to coincide with today, pivot 2 at $80.32. So it seems like, you know, I have to save the day first at 80.40 before it comes down. And of course, for the KSI and the KRW, you can see that with the KSI and KW all in a buying mode itself, right, the downside is kind of limited. Yeah, the downside is kind of limited. And for today, as long as it stays above 84.82, it should be fine. The target, it should be at 87.40. Okay. Now let's look at the other market. Let's take a look right now. Okay, so let's look at the this is the gold, this is silver. Now silver has tried its best to stay afloat above the $19. Yesterday it came down initially, but seemingly they are now happily afloat at $19.22 and above. So as long as the market doesn't pull back below 19.22, overall itself, this silver has further upside to go, because this is a very strong pendulum formation, and once the market has found strength, it will challenge this number at this number, which is like let's take a look. The trend line, yes, in this way, this $20.20. Okay, so if the market breaks over here, that should bring it to the next level. And of course, for Bitcoin, you can see that it has also found some strength. That Bitcoin came down yesterday, but hit the 85% mark very nicely and rebounded. So for today itself, right, for this gold, it's a doji directional day potential. Yeah, so you can see DGDD. So if gold today stay below 1674, which is MLP, with the KSI red and KW red, there is a chance for it to come back down to this pivot, the 80% mark, and that's 1660 level. And of course, if you talk about the other stuff, then you can actually expect it to come down to 1649, because overall for the dollar, it's not the best hedge for now. In fact, as long as the dollar strengthen, right, this gold likely will come down further. Okay, so watch out for this. This is just a temporary breather. I believe there should be a bit more downside to go for this gold market. All right, and of course, we get there. Just here a minute. Okay, so we have the Bitcoin at the moment now. Bitcoin now is now trading at 1932, and this is actually lower than the what you call the previous day, and this is actually not healthy, right? So this means that if the market cannot stay above the MLP, which is the one they just mentioned, then okay, let me just say the MLP is not very clear here. Okay, so which means that as long as the market stays below the MLP of today, there is a chance that Bitcoin can resume its selling back to 18,722. Now this figure is something that I believe the market might be going down, or at least it will go down and touch it first. Yeah, very important information. And last but not least, we have this Ethereum. Ethereum itself is also a DJDD today, and Ethereum is now trading below the 1363 MLP. With the KSI red right now, and most likely we may see coming down to the 1255 level. Yeah, 1255 level. It is possible for traders to watch out for it. Okay, then undeniable. There are some people asking me about my view overall for today. Today, because it's the eve of this FOMC meeting, I think the market will be a bit sluggish, a bit of upside, but that's all. Right, we wait for the FOMC meeting tomorrow, and from there we move in again. All right, this is Cal signing off. Have a great day. Bye bye.